Let's take this back to 2005. Drinks were poured and girls so fine. So many lines got dollar signs, and there she was, right on the spot. Yes. Hello there. Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not, and welcome back to Retro Rewind. It's been a while since I did one of these, but as mentioned, I do have access to some streaming services. I get them free with my cable. So, and I was on Paramount Plus. I've been watching Drake and Josh. They don't have every episode because I think most of it is copyright issues. But I came across one I just had to talk about, and that is the iconic episode, The Bet. Yes, The Bet, which premiered all the way back in 2005, 20 years ago. Hey! I almost had a myocardial infarction yesterday when I saw a thing saying that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie came out 30 years ago. Hey! I remember my mom taking me to see that back in the day when I was 8 years old. So, yeah. Also, 30 years ago, I was 8. It's going. It's a big one. You hear that, Elizabeth? I'll come and join you, honey. So yeah, The Bet is not only one of the best episodes of Drake and Josh, it is one of the most iconic episodes of Drake and Josh. And yes, I know I said before I wasn't going to talk about it. I think I found a medium of what Nickelodeon stuff to talk about. Drake and Josh and iCarly, okay? Anything afterward. I mean, I might want to talk about some Victorious, but like Sammy Cat is completely off limits. That's really where everything went down. Shit with Jeanette recording and everything. And I know a lot of stuff happened with this, but I don't know. I tried watching Sammy Cat once on like the Pluto TV app, and I was just like, no. Unless it's like a special one, like the hashtag tuna killer tuna fish or whatever that one was, killer tuna jump. That's the one's like a crossover, or the Super Psycho. Talk about that one, but it was a crossover stuff. I parted with Victorious, and there are a few episodes of Victorious I can talk about, but that is if they weren't edited to hell by Paramount. Apparently they edited some stuff out. But we're talking about The Bet, the first episode of season 2 of Drake and Josh. That's right. It's iconic, right? Everyone knows this. I was watching it, and I was taking a shower because I had it on in the background. You know, I live alone. I shower with the door open so I can hear things on the TV. It's fine. And then I came out, and I had gotten dressed, and I came out, and I was just like, I really want to talk about it because I was quoting it in the shower. I was quoting it when I was walking around getting ready. It is quotable. So let's go ahead and start this after me jibber jabbing for about 4 minutes. The Bet. So we start with the Drake and Josh opening where they're divided in half here, one on one side, one on the other, and they talk about a bet that they did, where he bet that Josh could drink a whole thing of milk or something, and he ended up puking. No, hold his breath. There was one. It was holding his breath, right? They see who can hold their breath the longest, and I swear it was a 1-0-1 opening with a puke on him. And Drake cheated because he was breathing through his nose, which, look, that's the first time that Josh is portrayed as being the stupid one, when we all know he's the smarter one. Because later there's something that happens, which is like, I understand why Drake would get confused, but both of them, I don't know. It's just to set up the whole bet thing. So Josh is sitting in the living room playing video games, and Drake is at the counter eating junk food. He's got cereal that he pours Mocha-Cola on, because and a whole thing of sugar. which, hello, diabetes. Yeah, no. That's too much sugar. You need a couple of scoops on there. That's all you need. A couple of scoops. You don't need the whole thing. You probably, being it looks like it's Fruity Pebbles, you probably don't, and you put mocha cola in there. You probably don't need any sugar, to be honest with you. But yeah, yeah. And I want to point out that I'm still kind of confused. 20 years later, what Josh is doing here, he's playing like this, right? And then you go switch the handheld, and he grabs the handheld thing, and it's like a Game Boy Advance SP. And my thought was back in the day, so is he playing the same game? And he's able to jump on that? Because that technology did not exist back in the day, right? Like, you could do that now with a Nintendo Switch, but it's the same system. You know, you could play on there, switch the handheld, take it out of the dock. Yeah, right? Back then, my thought is he's just playing different games. But it seems like he's playing Mario Kart because he's like, bye, Blue Tortoise Shell. Or something like that. And then later, he's playing it on here. Jump on a turtle shell. Tell me what to do. You know, I'll jump on it when I'm ready or something. So their mom comes in and tells them that it's about to pour down rain. How she knows that? I guess you can look outside. She comes from the other room. I guess you can look outside and see that it's going to rain. But how does she know it's going to pour down rain? And yeah, I know there's a weather report, but still. The weather reports in 2005 weren't that accurate. Trust me. The 90s and the 2000s, they weren't accurate. They tell you it's going to... They tell you it's going to be a bright sunny day, I'm going to grab an umbrella. You tell it's going to rain, I'll just go outside. You know, they were barely even 50-50, actually. Or like 70-30. I don't know. But, yeah. And they were not on the 70 side. They were on the 30 side. So, yeah. But she tells them to bring the umbrella to Megan, who is down the street at her friend's house. And they're both like, okay. And they leave. And Josh tells Drake to take it. And Drake mishears him and says, okay, see when you come back with umbrella. See when you come back with Megan. And then neither of them take it. And we get to the credits, right? I never thought that it'd be so simple, but I find a way. Yes. And then we come back, and Megan walks in all soaking wet. And that's in the credits. I don't know if it's in this credits. It's in A credits. I think that's actually the season 3 credits. Because season 1 and 2 credits are the same thing. They just... But, she comes in all soaking wet, and she's like, hello. And I like how Drake's like, you're wet. He's like, oh, here. I want me to get this to you. And then the mom comes in, and she's like, look at your sister. She's wet. So they both get in trouble. I do like how they both point out at each other. Maybe if we weren't too busy playing video games, Josh, or sucking down all this junk food, Drake. The way they point out to each other. So, yeah. So they're both grounded. And I want to point out, there's a character mention. We never get this character mentioned again. And it's always been confusing to me. Because Josh goes, I'm supposed to meet Brian Horowitz at the Magic Palace. And all these years I'm wondering, who the hell is Brian Horowitz? It's a name that's dropped. We never see this character. It's not like Trevor, where he's only seen in one episode, Dune Buggy, and then he's mentioned throughout. And Drake has like 4 different bands. At some point, he has one band in season 1, and they dropped it. And then he has another band in this season, I think, or the next one, and a different one in season 4, and a different one in the movie. Both movies. I don't know. I liked this band in season 1. I thought they were fun. I especially liked Scotty. Can you guess why? But yeah, so they go upstairs and they argue, oh, you can't give up junk food, or you can't give up video games. So they agree to have a bet to see who can last longer without video games and junk food. So, yeah. I think it's a week. A week is what it's a week or a month. One of the two. I just watched it. And so Megan draws up the contract. Why they trust Megan to drop the contract, I don't know. I'm surprised it wasn't some kind of little thing in there. It's just how she words things. Whoever caves must die. Must die? Their hair pink. I want to point out, those versions of die are not spelled the same way. Die isn't I'm going to die, is D-I-E. Die isn't dye your hair, is D-Y-E. Now I understand if Drake didn't understand that, but Josh would surely understand the difference in spelling. No, it's a joke for a laugh. So they signed a contract, and now, yes, no junk food, no video games. So how are they going to survive? Well, Josh plays the microwave like a video game, and the blender mix, blend. I do that when I got my blender. Blend. Yeah. Kind of like with the tuna fish song from Kenan and Kel. When I make tuna, I do la tuna fish. It's things. Drake comes in and says you're pathetic, and then proceeds to like dump a bunch of junk food on the table and almost make love to it. He's like, oh, we'll see you again. And I like Josh's response of, yeah, I'm pathetic. He's got a point. I mean, I eat the junk food, but you don't see me, unless it's cheese. But you don't see me doing that unless it's cheese. I'm just saying. Big LT can verify this. Not that he's watching this, but he can verify it. I love it, the cheese. But anyway, so the parents see them like this and think they're not gonna make it. I do like though that it is Audrey who says that Drake isn't gonna make it. She would know because it's her son, and Walter says Josh won't make it because it's his son. So I don't believe. So they don't. You say, well, they don't believe in their children. No, they know their children the best. That's why they're going against them, because they know how long they can last. So, yeah. Some people would think, well, they have to root for their own kid. No, it makes sense that they're rooting against their own kids, because they would know their limits. They would know how that works. So yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, so Megan draws up another contract to make the same joke about whoever caves dies. Their hair pink. Now, two grown-ass adults would know the difference. But, yeah. So, now with 4 suckers in on her plan, she starts poking and prodding. She goes to Josh, she says, hey. Oh, I forgot. I'm missing a step. So, Drake wakes up one morning with a hideous facial rash. And when the doctor who lives next door comes over, $300. And charges them $300 for this. He says that it's changing Drake's diet, which is true. Withdrawals can cause, some issues with your body, if you just strictly cut out. That's why they said you're not supposed to go cold turkey with anything. I prefer hot turkey with mashed potatoes, but you're not supposed to go cold turkey when you're quitting stuff like smoking or eating junk food or stuff like that, because it will affect your body. You have to gradually cut it out. And he just cold turkey. Oh, I forgot to mention, when they make their bet, they're like, we're gonna start right now? Yeah, we're gonna start right now. We can start in the morning. Yeah, that sounds good. Also, Josh points out that he's eating. He's like, well, look at me, I'm Drake. I'm eating a whole bunch of cheese balls. Drake points out that he's allergic to those. We saw him drinking milk at the beginning of the episode. What else is in cheese balls? Is he allergic to whatever the crunchy stuff is? Corn? Is he allergic to corn? I'm assuming that's what, like Cheetos and stuff. Corn, right? Is he allergic to corn? No one should be allergic to corn. Or cheese. No. Anyway, so, plain and simply, the doctor says, Drake, you have to eat junk food. Writes him a prescription. Writes him a prescription for doodle cakes. Don't know where you're supposed to give that. Go to the grocery store. Hey, I got a doctor's note. Doodle cakes. I don't know. So Josh wins, right? Drake has to eat junk food. But there's a catch. Megan walks in with a box. And it's a box from Grammy. It was just in the last episode. Yeah. And it's a Game Sphere. And oh boy. I never realized how many issues I have with this. First of all, it's spherical. Spherical! But, had to get that out of the way. But also, Drake says that the Game Sphere, which is a mock-up of the GameCube, which I had, and I have now. 2 different ones. I had to buy a new one. Not new, but a different one. It says the Game Sphere doesn't come out for another 3 months. And all we get from Josh is, never underestimate Grammy. No, for real though. How? Why? How did she get that? And I want to point out, there's 2 ways for this. How would there be video games? How would there be games? Right? Back then, we didn't have automatic download games on systems. You have to have a disc or a cartridge. Mostly disc at that point. You had to have a disc to put in to play it. He's ready to plug it in and play, and I'm thinking, how? You don't have. How is there? I know sometimes games come with it. Sure, so it's believable. This Game Sphere would come with a game. Only, it comes straight out of a plain cardboard box that is delivered to him. There's no Game Sphere box inside the cardboard box. Nothing. It's just a cardboard box, and he pulls the Game Sphere out of it, which means that Grammy gets some underground shit going on. And I assume that there is no game with it. Otherwise, some consoles come with a game. I got my GameCube. I got Mario Kart Double Dash, the original GameCube. I got Mario Kart Double Dash. My laundry alarm. Why does it have to beep so much? You don't need to beep 3 times. Beep, beep, beep. Richie. Anyway. So. Yeah, so I don't understand how he thinks he's going to play it. But Drake. Now, we know that Drake's an idiot. Eventually, but he hasn't got there yet. He's like, I got to plug it in. He goes, good, because when you do, you lose the bet. And I went, well, then why would you say that? But also, no, Josh has already won the bet. Drake has to eat junk food. Doctor's orders, $300. He has to eat junk food, but doesn't. This has always bugged me. It should end here. Josh should win the bet. Drake has to eat junk food. He was told he has to. Has to. It's not good for his health, but if he doesn't, it's gonna get worse. No, because we have to have the episode end the way it does, which I guess is funny, but it hasn't aged very well. But anyway, so this is where Megan decides to. This is where the parents make the bet. Megan decides to poke and prod and trick them. Sabotage. Sorry, I'm speaking zombie again. Sabotage. Sabotage? That's the Victorious reference. Sabotage. Sabotage. Yes. So, Drake comes into the room, and Josh has created Joshy Wonka's chocolate factory in the room. Where he got the money to do this, I don't know. He's got a whole kiddie pool full of chocolate milk, which I don't know how long it's been sitting there. Chocolate milk gets stinky after a while. Everything in the room is basically edible, and look, chocolate milk, chocolate cup, like Willy Wonka. Yeah. And then Drake's like, oh, look what I did. He got all hooked up. He's everything going. What game is he playing? How? And what's more, when they start teasing each other, he's like, he pulls out another controller. He's like, oh, you got the wireless battery pack. No, he didn't. The console's not out yet, which means the accessories to it would also not be out yet. Why did they put that in the episode? Why did they say it won't be out for 3 months? Because now everything else about this console makes no sense. And they both end up caving. And I want to point out that Drake does actually cave first. He shoves food in his mouth because Josh drops the controller. I think maybe it was a goof because it looks like Josh accidentally dropped it. But, I don't know. But Drake technically eats first. But it doesn't matter. They start fighting. They roll into the chocolate milk pool. And I want to point out that that stuff gets all over that carpet. You're going to have to wash that right away. Because milk, chocolate milk. Okay. When I was younger, when I was a kid, I was at school. And I wanted to save a carton of chocolate milk. Okay? Little one. For later. After school. I put it in my backpack. Well, one thing led to another, and it got smushed. My backpack got smushed, and the chocolate milk went everywhere, and it stunk the hell out of my backpack. I think we had to end up getting me a new one. I don't know if we washed it. But yeah. No, that stinks, man. Worse than regular stinky milk. Chocolate milk is stinkier when it goes bad. Trust me. It do. But they're rolling around that chocolate milk, and the parents come up and ask what happened. They both ramble at them and say, and then the other one caved. And start arguing, but Megan comes in and says, it doesn't matter. See here, whoever caves has to dye their hair pink. You both caved, you both lose. And the parents are like, well, you know, you made a promise. You signed a contract, you have to honor a commitment. And yeah, about that, you also signed a contract. You also had to dye your hair pink. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we get to where I have a problem with the episode. I've always had an issue with this, but it's gotten worse. So, we see that they've dyed their hair pink. They're all obviously wearing wigs. Drake's is missing sideburns, and you can see his regular sideburns. Now, I know his is supposed to be a wig, but they all look the same. You couldn't have had 3 wigs that look different from the one that Drake was going to wear, so at least they look realistic. They all look fake. You couldn't have had wigs that look realistically like their hair. Hell, Josh and Walter's hair are both longer than they were before they dyed it. And I know hair grows, but not that fast. And they're like, well, how long do you think this will last? I don't know, a week, a month. It lasts longer. They'll have it like half a year. My mom, when she was getting ready to do chemo, she dyed her hair purple. And it only like a couple months ago did it go away. She kept getting haircuts, and it wouldn't go away. I know you can just re-dye it, but I don't think she wanted to go that route. You can't, because then it would mix up with the whatever dye, right? It took, I don't know how many haircuts for her to finally get rid of that purple in her hair. Became mauve after a while, maroon, whichever one you want to say. So it lasts a while, but this doesn't even look like dyed hair. It's a wig. And the reason I say that the other 3 should look more realistic than Drake's is because when they're like, oh, okay, we gotta go, Megan. By the way, Megan is not acting real hiding her evilish ways in this episode, but the parents don't seem to care. Earlier, when they were fighting over after Josh got the game sphere, she's like, this is my favorite day. And then here, she's like, no, this is my new favorite day. And they're getting a car, and then Josh's like, let's go. He goes, you know what, I'm going to get some breakfast, and I'll meet you at school. Okay. And they leave, and he takes up his wig and goes, suckers. They're idiots. Okay. So, I have some issues. Besides them all looking fake. Wouldn't they have all dyed their hair together? I know that would be very stinky for the house, but don't you think they would have all dyed their hair together? Right? To make sure they all dyed their hair? Right? This has never made sense to me. It makes even less sense now how he got away with this. I don't get it. How did he get away with this? I don't know. That's where the episode ends. Yes. And the one question still lingering on my mind after 20 years is, who is Brian Horowitz? Yeah. So, is this the best episode of Drake and Josh? I'm not sure. It's probably one of the best. It's in contention. It's one of my favorites, that's for sure. This is a classic. It's a classic, let me tell you. It is. In every sense of the word, a classic. What are your thoughts on Drake and Josh, the bet? Leave no comments below. Make sure you like, in this episode, I should say. No comments below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.